Hey, what is up? This is Alan, and you're listening to the Young Adult Podcast. This is a space built to encourage and equip this generation. We talk faith, culture, relationships, and what it looks like to follow Jesus in real life. If this episode speaks to you, make sure to like, subscribe, and share with a friend. It helps us reach even more young adults just like you. Thanks for being here. Now let's jump into today's episode. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Young Adult Podcast. It's your host, Alan, and man, we're just gonna get straight to it today. I have one of my best friends on the podcast today. You know, the cool thing about ministry is that you don't have to do this thing alone. We always say in church, right, like you gotta be connected, you gotta do ministry with friends. Once you have a platform or once you're entrusted to be a leader, you need even more friends, ones to tell you the truth, ones to be real with you, ones somebody that you can call for accountability or somebody that you can call for encouragement, someone you can be honest with. And so I have one of my best friends here today. And let's do this. Let's just put our hands together in the room for pastor, husband, dad, friend, leader, entrepreneur,
Hey.
Ray Clark. Come on, put your hands together, family.
Come on.
I ChatGPT'd your name. And I was like,
Which I've never done before.
Which you've never done. You don't even use ChatGPT because you're holy, and the ChatGPT is the Antichrist.
I chat the Lord. I chat with the Lord.
So as I said, because I could introduce you just based off of context, but I'm just like, this is gonna be really funny. So I did it.
Yeah.
And I kind of gave you the beginning, and we're like, let's just start shooting, and then I'll tell you those. Okay, so I'm gonna burn the first 3 minutes of this pod just talking about what ChatGPT says about you, and I would encourage other people, if ChatGPT don't know you, because I want to be on first name basis with the demons in hell.
Hey,
I want them to know that I'm saving people.
They better know
and
me.
So if AI is the
Paul
Antichrist,
I know, Christ I know, but who are you?
Who are you?
Right.
So if ChatGPT knows you and we're claiming that ChatGPT is the Antichrist, then I would hope that it would know you. He knows you pretty well. Check this out. Ray Anthony Clark is known as a Christian preacher and communicator who has built influence through conferences, youth events, and digital platforms. He's often associated with next-gen ministry spaces and revival-style environments where strong, bold proclamation is central.
Hey.
Does that sound like you?
Oh, 100%.
Okay, preaching style, passionate, higher energy delivery, direct and conviction driven, scripture heavy with strong altar moments, often calls people to repentance, surrender, and deeper consecration.
Whew.
That's your word.
Bro, that's crazy.
ChatGPT knows you. Okay, check this out. He tends to preach with urgency, the kind of communicator that doesn't just want agreement, but response.
Dog.
Okay, ministry emphasis. Common themes in his messages include holiness and spiritual discipline, bold faith and a compromised culture, identity in Christ, revival and spiritual awakening, calling young believers to take their faith seriously. He's particularly resonant with young adults and youth audiences because he speaks plainly and challenges cultural Christianity. He's gained traction through preaching, social media sermon clips, collaborations, and broader circles, and his online presence has helped him reach beyond just local church audiences into a national/international young adult space. Put your hands together one more time for Pastor Ray Anthony Clark.
Bro, I got the chills just listening to that. I want to meet that guy. Listen, if you've not been encouraged, okay, encourage yourself in the Lord, but encourage yourself in chat. That is crazy.
Man, I'm so glad to have you. That's crazy.
Man,
What else do you think about that?
Bro, it's pretty spot on.
Yeah.
You said that consecration is my word. I've been feasting on that word for the better part of 2.5, 3 years now. Yeah. Setting yourself apart for the glory of God, setting yourself apart to be used by God. And if there is something that I want to be known for, it's that I was set apart.
Yeah.
That I was consecrated.
Yeah.
That I was different. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I got to do that for you.
Don't do it for me. I don't even. Should I do it for me? I'll do it later.
Yeah.
So holiness, consecration has kind of been the thing that we often talk about. I remember one phone call specifically. I think it was the beginning of 2024, and it was right after. Actually, I think it was the end of 2023, and we're on the phone. And I'm like, yeah, I just feel like the Lord told me to stop drinking.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, bro, that's crazy. And I was like, what do you think about that? You're like, this is what my pastor told me when I started talking to him about drinking, and he said, what? You can have a drink, but don't let the drink have you.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So then I was like, yeah, I just feel like a deeper call to consecration and holiness. So the Lord has something for me, and not that we have to prepare, not that we have to be perfect in order for the Lord to use us,
right.
but I think there are different levels that the Lord wants to take us that cause us to have deeper consecration.
Yes.
Consecration is just the holiness and preparation for what God wants to do in a later season.
Correct.
And so I'm like, okay, it's gonna cost me things that aren't necessarily sin, but things that oftentimes my flesh really desires and can pull me away from God.
Yes.
Bro, I got to a point where I was drinking a glass of wine, turned into 2, turned into 3, turned into not just drinking on Friday or Saturday, but it was something I looked forward to at the end of a hard week. And so I would go to a wine bottle that was okay as opposed to like going to God.
Right.
And then it was Monday nights, and then it was maybe Wednesday nights, and I'm like, I'm prepping for a sermon with just a glass of wine. I'm like, this is so, and I'm like, you know what? Like, it isn't sinful.
Right.
I'm like, I'm not really like getting hammered. I'm not really getting drunk, but I felt the Lord drawing me in deeper and saying like, if you want more deeper, rich relationship with me, like you're going to have to give up some things. And so like for you, I know you've been on this like holiness, consecration bend, but like, it's so funny because like right now it's kind of been a wave in the church. It's like, we're sorry, we got to get back to holiness, but like, it's not a wave. It's who God is.
It's what we are called to be.
Yes.
It's literally, and you see it all throughout Scripture. Be blameless.
Yeah.
Like something. I've been talking about this verse, and I opened up the year with this, and it's challenged me. It's wrecked me. I'm gonna try to find it. I hope that I find it today. I think it's Ezekiel 43:22, maybe. No, I'm like 44:22, maybe. Lord, let it be. Nope, you'll have to figure it out. All right, so and so it's the Levites, and it says that they have to discern what is clean and unclean.
Yep.
And then it says that you have to discern or decipher or make known what is holy and what is common. And what I've been wrestling with is the common that's not sinful.
Yeah.
You just said it. This is not sinful. It's not a sin. But do I want to be common or do I want to be holy?
That's right.
And so I've been wrestling with so much in my life of what am I intaking? What am I allowing myself to watch? What am I allowing myself to consume? What am I allowing myself to listen to? When we talk about purity, everybody thinks I'm talking about sexual morality.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the first thing. Hey, you got to be pure. Okay, I can't have sex. Yeah, that is one aspect of purity. I'm talking about purity as a whole. Purity as what am I consuming? The music I'm listening, all that stuff. So I'm wrestling with the common and the holy. And so I'm preaching this message, the first message of the year, set apart. Talking about being set apart, being used for God. And I have tattoos, I have piercings, and in the middle of my message, as I'm talking about me wrestling with this, I take off my earrings, take off my nose piercing, and I'm like, I've been wrestling with what is common and what is holy. And I look at the young adults, I'm saying, you got tattoos, you got piercings. I'm not calling any of that sin. And neither am I saying that you need to do what I'm doing. This is a conviction for me that I'm wrestling with. And if it's an idol, if I'm holding on too tightly to it, I say, I don't know that I can let this go, then has it become an idol? Has it become something that is a God? Has it become something that has controlled me? And when I started thinking that way, that it was so hard for me to let these things go, it was like, why is it that hard to let it go? Because it has some sort of control over me.
Yeah.
It's now begun to define my identity.
Yeah.
And it's begun to define how relevant I am or how cool I am or whatever the case may be. And so in the middle of my message, I take these piercings off and I'm wrestling with this.
Wow.
And I don't want to just be common. I want to be holy.
Yeah.
And bro, when I tell you that the young adults gravitated to that message of consecration, of holiness. Now, I got a whole bunch of young adults in there, still got their piercings, still going to get tattoos, still rocking whatever they're rocking. And I don't think any of that's sin.
Yeah.
Nor am I saying that they're not living a holy life. I'm just wrestling with some things. And I would encourage anybody that's watching, anybody who's breathing, you got to wrestle with that.
For sure.
What are the things that are common in your life?
Yeah.
And God is saying, hey, it's common and I want you to take a step of holiness, a step of consecration, so that you can draw closer to me. So that's what I've been wrestling with.
I think like the word is crazy because you talk about holy and then or we're talking about what was the first part? It's what was
Clean and unclean.
and unclean.
Right.
So, and then it says holy, and it didn't say unholy.
Right.
It was not holy and then
Right.
sin.
Right.
It is holy and then everything else.
Yes.
Regular.
Yes.
Normal.
Yes.
Average. Whatever you're looking at, whatever you're seeing, just what's common.
Yes.
What I know about sin is like in and of itself, oftentimes there isn't sin, but it's sin to me because there's sin of commission and sin of omission. And so I was like, yeah, I commit sin. And so like, yeah, clearly, yeah, I shouldn't cheat and I shouldn't lie and I shouldn't steal. Like I commit those sins. But sin of omission is when God tells you to do something and you don't do it. When God convicts you and you push the conviction away. When God tells you to go forgive that person and you're like, I'm not going to forgive them. And so like that is sin of omission. And I think oftentimes we forget that is a sin. So maybe on paper, it's like, it doesn't say this is a sin.
Right.
But when the Lord convicts me and tells me, this is what I told you to do, and then I don't obey the thing that God told me to do, well, now the disobedience in and of itself has now become a sin because I'm pretty much telling the Lord, like, you spoke to me and you know what? I'm not going to do what you told me to do.
Right.
And the scary part about that is we want to hear the voice of God oftentimes when it comes to clarity and direction and like the next move for our life. But there are often times where God will speak to us in the small whispers, in the small moments of our life, and we dismiss the things that he tells us to do, the small convictions, the minor things. And if we can get so comfortable rejecting and pushing away and getting rid of the small things that the Lord tells us to do, then we look for clarity and direction, and we can't even discern if it's the Lord's voice or if it's a thought or if it's an impression or if it was something that we heard or how to even interpret the dream or did we get a vision or are we just thinking? Because when the Lord has given you little morsels of his voice and he tells you to do something and then you don't obey it or you don't listen to it, it's all jaded up here because you didn't obey. But it's like if you can begin to take the little things that the Lord gives you and not continuously fall to the sin of omission, that when you want the clarity, when you want the vision, when you get the prayer and the fasting, like the Lord begins to speak and you can clearly discern his voice.
Yes.
And I think I'm just so sad for a group of people, for a young adult generation that has gotten so used to pushing away like the little things, the common things, right?
Yes.
And so, yeah, like we kind of start off like, the drinking isn't necessarily a sin.
Right.
And I felt the Lord just be like, yeah, for a season. How long is a season? I don't know. Oftentimes we think a season, is a week.
Right.
So I'm in this season, I'm in that season. It's like a trigger word, right? Like, it's a season 3 months. But sometimes seasons are 10 years. Like,
Right.
like there
was
is
a wilderness season, 40 years.
Yeah. And so it could be 40 years till I have another drink. I don't know. Until I feel the release. The irony is at first I struggled with it. And then for a while I was like, I don't even think about it. But as I feel like I'm now stepping into the thing that the Lord has consecrated me for, it's crazy how the temptation has come back 10 times more. Every day I crave a glass of wine. Like I'm walking around and I smell like somebody's like weed smell. And I'm like, dang, I can't believe I gave that up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And this is just so real. Like I want to be so honest. But like the things that I gave up in order to be stepping into the thing that God has for me now is crazy. Cause like, it was like, I don't really crave that because no, I'm gonna be holy.
Yeah.
And then now that feel like I'm stepping into it and I'm receiving the blessing from being obedient to God, it's like the temptation came back so much stronger. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I want to go back to what you were saying about the little voice.
Yeah.
I think that if we can be obedient to the little voice, he's going to trust us with the big things.
Yeah.
If we can be obedient to the little consecrations of life, then he's going to trust us to speak more.
Yeah.
But if he speaks to you and you just kind of brush it off, I don't know, that was God. That might have been God, but I'm not sure. If it might have been God and it's beneficial for you and it's not hurting you, it's not sinful, just do it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We talked about sin, common is not sin. Hebrews 12. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us also lay aside every weight and sin. So there's two different things.
Yeah.
Let us lay aside the weight and the sin.
Yeah.
So now we're seeing multiple times in scripture that we ain't just talking about sin.
Yeah.
We are talking about there are other things that we're called to lay aside.
Yeah.
That might cause us to sin.
Yeah. That's good.
Bro.
Yeah.
What are the things in our life that are not blatant sins, but they're weight?
Yeah.
There are things that are holding us back. There are things that are pushing us away from the Lord. There are things that are burdening us, not necessarily sin, but lay aside, cast off every weight and sin, which clings so closely, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us. Man, there is a difference between sin, and that's obvious. We got to get rid of that.
Yeah.
But then the common, the weight.
Yeah.
And let us be obedient to what God and the conviction that's in our heart, and some leaders and some pastors and what they are helping us to see and opening our eyes to, and saying, okay, man, I didn't know that was a weight. I didn't know that was a hurdle for me. I didn't know that was a stumbling block for me. But if it's not going to benefit my walk with the Lord, then I should be able to let it go.
That's right.
And then so I think even Paul, right? I believe it's Paul. Everything's permissible, but not everything's beneficial.
That's right.
And so again,
Yeah.
like there's so many verses
Yeah.
that tell us there are certain things that are allowed.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that you have to partake in it.
It's true. Yeah.
And it's funny, when I was younger and I would see these older people and I was like, dang, y'all are so like boring.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I now see it as, man, they were just so hungry for the things of God
Yeah.
that the other stuff, even if they thought it might satisfy or I still craved it,
Yeah.
I didn't want to crave it as much as I craved the Lord.
It's true.
And I was willing to give that up because I craved God more.
Yeah.
And so, man, I've just been in that consecration, and I'm not perfect, but I'm preaching it, and I'm living it, and I'm trying to show the people that I'm leading that I'm living it first, so that I can be holy as I'm holy. Follow Christ as I follow Christ.
Yeah.
And then I'm just being vocal about it and being transparent about it and wrestling with people about, like in front of people with it, so they can see, man, if he's wrestling, then I can wrestle.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love it.
I just think sometimes like it doesn't always have to be sin. Sometimes it could just be stupid.
Yeah.
You know, like smoking cigarettes is just like, is it really sinful?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
you keep smoking cigarettes and you get lung cancer. Like,
how's that cancer tasting this morning?
Exactly.
You know?
You know what I'm saying? And so I just feel like there are just things that as we draw closer to him, like the Lord will reveal to us, like, yeah, it's not sin. It's just stupid.
Yeah.
You know, and you just got to stop that
Yes.
type of behavior, that stuff. You just got to grow up. You got to mature. Like the intro to my last message at our youth conference on Wednesday was just like, I got to grow
hold
up.
on, man. Like, what an incredible youth conference.
Unreal.
I was able to come for the last night, and I'm so sad that I missed your message. But I want to honor you, and I'll let you speak. But I want to honor you, man. I'm so grateful to have a friend like you.
Thanks.
That challenges me to love people the way that you love people, to shepherd people the way that you shepherd people. You poured yourself out. Like, I say this often, when I get to heaven, I want to be wrung out. Like, I want to be spent for the glory of God. And you are a true model of what it looks like to be spent for the glory of God. Thanks. To lay it all out there. And I was able to witness it this past week. And so, man, I'm just grateful for you.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, I love you.
All right. Tell you what, after jumping up and down for 8 songs straight on that back end, I was spent. I was wrung out. I'll tell you what. I had nothing left in me.
Them calf muscles are on fire this morning.
They're so sore. They're so sore. Hey, but only a real friend comes all the way from Houston. You know what I'm saying? To help out. And
I'm grateful I was in town, and I extended the trip to be here. And I'll say this, it meant more to me to be able to just be there and lift up your hands and not have any responsibility, not come for a paycheck, not come for a mic slot, not come for anything other than to sit right there and watch you sound. Bro, I'm taking pictures of you yesterday, like I'm dating you. You know what I'm saying? Like sending them to my friends and posting them. And the most special one that I took, and I don't know if you're gonna be able to even see this, but is this right here. You're on your knees with 2 students. It's not even like great quality. You know what I'm saying? It's not great quality. Yeah. But I'm just like, he's with the students on his knees, praying, loving on them, like going after it, interceding I'm just so in love with your heart for what God is doing in this younger generation. And if people would do this more, it's not just about the platform. Like, that's great, man. God gave you a platform. Use it. He gave you influence. Use it. But it means nothing if you're not with them.
Yeah.
And you're not accessible. And so, yeah.
Thanks,
this picture, it's not even a great quality. I hope somebody else got this. You know what I'm saying? But this will be core memory for sure.
Yeah. I mean, people do only see this.
Yeah.
There is 95, 99% of, I mean, let's just go 99% just because I know, like, they just see maybe the pod or the TikTok. And yeah, a lot of people don't see that, you know. And I think, like, I was talking to, you know, Pastor Michael preached last night, phenomenal word. He was just asking about, like, the influence stuff. And I mean, he's the GOAT, right? He's the influential one, but he's like, yo, I just feel like this for you. Like, I sense the rising, and how's it been treating you? And, you know, we talk about this stuff often, but he's like, I don't know, I just feel like just even this conference, just this way students come up to you, they love you, they hug you, like, just you have influence in your own space, but like, how's the online stuff? Like, you know, and he's like, it feels good. Like, I know it does, because I've been there, I've gone viral, and I know what it's, you know. I was like, yeah, it feels good. I was like, for me, like, I don't demonize the good feeling though. Like, it's just because like, this isn't my whole life. Like, when the social media stuff does well, it's not that I don't care, because to say I don't care would mean that, like, I don't care about who I'm reaching.
Right.
It's more so like the order. So, okay, my wife, you know, the Lord, and then my wife, and then the church. And there's so many other things that come before that. And then it's like, yeah, then I do the social media stuff, you know? And out of the overflow of my relationship with God and the relationship with my wife and the local church that I'm planted in, that's what gives me the ability and the energy and the sustenance to continue to do stuff outside. The moment that this becomes a priority over the local church, I'm gonna have to give it up, you know? And so the moment I start saying, like, there are speaking engagements and stuff like that. And, like, this is very, like, niche content, but, like, there's things that I say no to outside of the church often, because I got a campus club to preach at on Thursday in my local high school. Because I don't care about, like, those youth conferences. Like, somebody else will go and preach them. Yeah. But, like, nobody else is called to my city. Jeremiah, we love 29:11, but, like, Jeremiah 29 also talks about to seek the peace and the prosperity of your city. And I'm looking around and I'm like, I don't see tons of peace. And we live in a place that is prosperous financially, but is so poor in the desire for God. Yeah. And there's legitimately a revival happening. And a student came up to me on Thursday night and said, yo, Pastor Allen, I just got to tell you something. I'm like, what? He's like, I just want you to know, man, you're changing the city. He's like, okay, bye. Love you. I'm like, okay. And he kept running, you know? And I was like, what the heck? And then another student came up to me and was like, yeah, I just want you to know, like, what you're doing, like, it's rumbling in our school. Everybody was talking about this. Like, so good. We had 100 tickets sell from that night to the next night, because all the students were like, all my friends from school have to show up to the Friday night, because what we experienced the night before is just so crazy. And it's just a one-day ticket, and it's just crazy, you know? And I have a heart for the city, and I have a heart for the people of the community. And it's like the conviction for me, like, is like, I used to drive by a middle school, the one that I went to, and I would see kids running the mile. And, like, I've broken down in tears and continued to drive, like, on my way to the gym or, like, in and out, because I'm like, there's probably 500 kids during the 7th or 6th period PE, and 3 of them probably know Jesus, you know? And then that's just the middle school. Then we're talking high schools, we're talking elementary schools, we're talking families that don't know Jesus. Yeah. And, like, the moment that I allow any sort of platform to outweigh, like, my heart for people, then I got it twisted. And that stuff I've submitted to leadership, like, other stuff I've given to people in my life that know me, stuff we talk about often too. And so, like, yeah, the platform is cool, and, like, I'm great because God will always use a man to reach people, a woman to reach people. And so I'm like, whatever, Lord, use me. Now, I think oftentimes it looks really nice. We did a breakout yesterday. Me and Kendrick talked about friendships, relationships, but somebody asked something along the lines of, like, you know, I feel called to preach, but I feel like my relationship is keeping me from, like, from preaching. How do you manage that? I'm like, well, let's just, like, broaden the scope. Like, if the Lord has called you to do something, it's oftentimes gonna, like, cost people, places, comfortability, desires, like, but you have to desire the thing of God or the thing He's called you to do over the things that your flesh often wants, because like if God's told you to do that, but he hasn't told you to be with this person, you got to let the person go.
Right.
And or if God's called you to be this or to do this, but he never really told you that like you go move to that city, but you're like, but you want to be home. Oh, you better go move to that city. You're going to end up there. And you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, but I talked about like, you know, there is a, it was a warning. I'm like, just don't get caught up in the fact that there is a platform. You know, like if it were up to me, like the idea of a stage wouldn't exist. You know, like I love being on the ground. There's moments for like altar ministry. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna lay hands on people. Like I'm gonna get off this and just like be there. So you showed me that photo of like me being on knees with students, and I honestly don't even like, I remember it, but like it doesn't seem like anything to me because maybe that's just a picture of like my life. Like, bro,
so good.
I like, I don't mean it, I guess, and like no shade to my high school, you know, my high school students out there. Like there's been moments where I'm like, I'm a loser because I hung out with high schoolers 5 days in a row this week. You know, I'm hanging out with 16-year-olds.
Yeah.
I'm a 29-year-old guy.
Right.
And then I'm like, no, but that's discipleship.
That's your call. That's
discipleship. And that's what I'm supposed to be doing.
Literally Jesus is doing.
100%. And so I'm just trying my best to, you know, follow me as I follow Christ. And so I'm like, yeah, I just realized how many people I have following me. And instead of allowing the following to inflate my head, I'm like, that it's now burdened me to follow Christ more.
Yes.
And I think that should be our response to followers, you know, notoriety, success in the ministry space, all that stuff.
Weight.
Like, yeah, bro, it feels like more,
Yes.
you know, more responsibility. We had night one, right? Our youth conference. And, bro, I was just crying of watching the Instagram stories that students were reposting, because I'm like, yo, night 2 is so heavy because I feel the weight of the people. And there are times in church spaces where you could tell the pastor goes up or people will go up there and I'm like, you don't feel your people, you know? And, yeah, that's just the life that I live. You know, it's just, Pastor Dan wrote the book, Who's Your And? It was always Jesus and the disciples. And they always say, we're going to go here. They always say that, leadership is lonely at the top, but it's only lonely at the top if you don't bring people with you. And oftentimes you can get somewhere super high really, really quick, or you can bring people with you and it takes a very long time.
Correct.
But last time I checked, I don't want to get there quick. I'm in the long obedience in the same direction.
Right.
And so it's going to take me a while. It's going to take me a long time, but I want to bring as many people as I can with me.
Yeah.
So a lot of what we see like in our youth space, or especially with the students that I hang out with, is like, they're young, they're strong, they're bold, they're, you know, they have this like, they're all like preachers, and they observe the text and they love the Bible and they read. And when we talk about leadership, it's like, you can only like develop and you only reproduce who you are.
Yeah.
And so when I begin to see things that I don't like, I have to check myself first and be like,
what am I doing?
What am I doing to allow that behavior? But at the same time though, when I see certain things, I'm like, man, I'm so proud of you. I'm like, oh man, thank you, Lord, that I have a love for my word, because not that they have a love for your word because I do, but like, yeah, I just like during worship, every Wednesday, I worship how I worship. So there's moments where I'm on my face and on my knees. There's moments where I'm having a rough day, and the students could tell, you know, like, you good? I'm like, yeah, I'm cool, you know. But I just bring it honest, I bring it vulnerable. I worship, and it gives the freedom in the room to when I say, hey, you worship God however you want to. Then all of a sudden, like within 20 seconds, face, knees, lift it, you know, because
you gave permission to.
Yes. And I often think that like, when we want students to do something, or even we want people who are discipling, or if you're a young adult serving in youth ministry, kids ministry, oftentimes we don't see what we want to see because two things: we either haven't taught them or we haven't given permission.
Sheesh.
And so my life's mission is to teach them the way, the truth, the life, the word, living and active, breathing, sharper than a two-edged sword. Like, I want to teach them what the word says so that the world doesn't try and infiltrate, you know, what the word says.
Yeah.
But I also give them permission. Hey, you be you. You are a preacher in nature. So, hey, here's the mic. Like, I give you permission to pray over the students.
Yeah.
You know, I give you permission to go to be the campus club leader of your high school. And you're preaching, and I'm gonna help you develop you to preach. And we give them permission to be who they are, to jump up and down. To those students, like, hey, like, we have these like flags. I'm like, yeah, go ahead, like, do whatever you want. Okay, we're gonna jump in the front. Go jump in the front. Hey, I feel like we should do this. And over time, like, we reproduce like these amazing students, or just leaders, or I even think like just friendships, you know, like, you know, as iron sharpens iron, like, when you can give permission for your friends to just be honest, then like you have an honest conversation, vulnerability. I just feel like that's what leadership is, you know.
So
and you're kind of you got to connect the leader, and you just been connecting other leaders because you also believe that leadership shouldn't be lonely at the top. And so you have the ability to like galvanize young leaders and stuff like that. Like, where did that come from? Where was the conviction made out of? Like, how did you get to that point?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely have heard what you've heard growing up in ministry and in leadership, that leadership is lonely. And then as the higher you get in leadership, the lonelier it gets. And then as Christians who have integrity and have character and want to be consecrated, it even gets lonelier because not many people are doing it like you. And it's just like, I don't know that I want to sign up for a lonely life. Yeah. Like, I'm pretty extroverted, my entire life. Yeah. I don't really meet many strangers. It's like, once we meet, it feels like we've known each other forever. Yeah. And so I just, I as much as I heard that, it was always a fear. It's like, this is what I'm signing up for. But then at the same time, I was like, we don't have to. It doesn't need to be. We don't have to crash out. We don't have to burn out. We don't have to go through, I mean, you watch like people falling apart, their marriages falling apart, them having an affair, and then the ministry blows up, and then the city that God entrusted them with falls apart. Like, because they were lonely. Yeah. Because they didn't let people in, or because they subscribed to the notion that leadership is lonely, and they allowed that notion to become a reality when it doesn't have to be a reality. And so I'm wrestling with all that, and I'm like, if I can create a space where young ministry leaders, young pastors can connect, be resourced, like we're going to read the word and do a devotion, and I'm going to resource with like structures and systems and all that, but more than that, just a space, a community where we can celebrate each other and we can lift each other up. Moses, in the middle of the battle, as his hands were lifted, they're winning. His hands are drooping, they're losing. And so Aaron and Hur on the side, lifting up his hands during the battle. They won collectively. Yeah. And I think in ministry, it's not collectively anymore. It's not collaboratively anymore. We critique each other. We compete. We compare all the C words. You know what I'm saying? And it should be corporately, collectively holding each other up so that we all win. Yeah. So that we all win. Yeah. And so we have to die to that pride inside of us that says, I need to win alone. Yeah. That I need to be a lone wolf. And that was something that, I was going to speak about in this summit that we were at. This lone wolf mentality has to die. Yeah. When you look at nature, if the wolf leaves its pack, it's most likely going to die. Wow. You can't do it alone. Yeah. You have to have a pack. You will be defeated by the others. Yeah. Why do we think it's any different with us? Yeah. We have to do this together. And so I don't subscribe to it's lonely. I got friends. Yeah. And I make sure I'm intentional about building friendships. And not every friendship is going to flourish the way that you want. And that's okay. Yeah. They're just not my inner circle. You know what I'm saying? And that's okay. But when I see them, I love them, I dap them up. And they might not got the same love for me, but guess what? That doesn't determine how I love them. That's great. It does not determine how I celebrate them. Yeah. My pastor says this all the time. You have to give them the ability to become your enemy. Wow. You can't be my enemy without me allowing you to be my enemy. Wow. You could try, but I'm going to love you anyway. And so you're not my enemy. And you could try to be mean to me, and you could try to talk dirt about me, and you could try to slander me, and then I'm going to see you and I'm going to love you. I don't allow you to be my enemy. You feel me? I feel you. Woo. And so, that's the one. I want to go back real quick to what you were saying about your influence and just platform and social media and blowing up, but you falling in love with your city for a while. And I've opened up about this to you. I was seeing all my friends, all my ministry friends. I'm seeing Pastor Michael. I'm seeing Tyshawn, and I'm like all these people that I've seen kind of grow, and we were all young 20s growing into ministry. man, traveling and every conference. And I'm like, these are my dogs. But why am I not there? You know? And there was that comparison that I was wrestling with. And I'm like, I want to be at that conference, and I want to be at this thing, and I want to be. And I went to VU. I love VU Church.
Yeah.
Pastor Rich and Don Cherie, if you're watching.
Yeah.
We
Pastor
love
Rich,
you.
if you're watching this,
If
we're
you're
big
tuning
fans. We've said hi 8 times, and I've been at VuCon 6 years in a row. And you know,
listen, you're not an idol in my life,
you're
but
not,
you are a mentor.
But we were
from
friends and
afar.
family this year.
Yeah,
so we're friends and family, Pastor Rich, if you're watching.
So like we went to VU,
So
and I had started noticing, like I didn't see him speaking at many engagements anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to VU, and just the verbiage that they would use about the city, loving Miami, we love Miami, we're for Miami, we're in Miami, in the city of Miami, everything Miami. I was like, they love their city.
Yeah.
Like they love their city. So I came back to Houston, and I was like, I need to love Houston. And I'm born in New York, but I moved when I was like 4 to Tampa, Florida. And I love Tampa, Florida. My mom lived in Fort Lauderdale, so it's like near Miami. I'm talking about like I lived a tropical life.
Yeah.
Beautiful beaches, palm trees, like beautiful.
Yeah.
And then you move to Houston, and it's just like,
Ugh.
gross. Like, not sure. I love Houston, but it's like it's hazy, it's smoggy, it's like
No
the beach is
mountains.
brown, it's flat. It's like.
Get robbed at the gas station.
Okay, right. I can't even
My goodness,
go.
can't even
I can't
get
go
gas.
to some places at night. You know what I'm saying? I love Houston, but like, yeah, I had that tension. I had that wrestle. Then I moved to Vegas for 2 years, and then I'm back in the mountains, and this place is beautiful. And I had to like fall in love with my city. And so I get back to Houston, and I'm like, God, I need to fall in love with my city, but I'm still wrestling with wanting to be everywhere else and be invited to speak at every engagement. And this is what the Lord said. And there's seasons of your life when you just hear Jesus every day.
Yeah.
And it was just this season where I felt like I was hearing him every day. And I'm hungry for him now, but I like there was just this desperation for him in that moment. And he said, you're so concerned about leading and shepherding someone else's flock, and you don't even have that care and concern for your own flock. And I had to repent. And apologize, like, God, you've entrusted me with this.
Yeah.
Here in Houston, you said, Ray, this is yours. Like, lead this. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's his, but I'm entrusting you with this.
Yes. Love
this. And bro, when he changed my heart to love the city, bro, then he started bringing everybody to the young adult ministry. So I flipped over to Acts chapter 1, and this is him commissioning his disciples. But you will receive power when the Holy Spirit has come upon you, and you will be my witnesses in Jerusalem and in all of Judea and Samaria and to the ends of the earth.
Yeah.
It didn't say you will be my witnesses to the ends of the earth and in Samaria and Judea, and then you will come home to Jerusalem.
Yeah.
Say, focus here.
Yeah.
You got a mission field right here. And then go and spread it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for young leaders and pastors who are hungry to get the word out and hungry for platform, you care so much about everywhere else and not enough about where God has planted you and has rooted you. And I say all that to say that I think that your reach is flourishing and it's reaching the nations, and I would say across the world, because you fell in love with home. Mm. Because when you drive past the school, your heart breaks for those kids. Yeah. And you love your city, and God is like, because he loves my city, and I trust that he's gonna shepherd this city well, I'm gonna give him influence for the rest of the world.
Dang.
Some people want the influence for the rest of the world. It's like, I can't even trust you with your city.
Dang.
You know what I'm saying? And so, like, for anybody that is listening, Pastor Rich, and like, thank you for teaching me to love your city, man. Love what God has entrusted you with, and I'll be honest, it takes a lot to pull me away from young adults on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
A lot. I will not
Yeah.
go to many places on Tuesdays
Yeah.
because I'm looking at what's happening at home, and I'm wishing I was at home.
Yeah.
Because I miss my family.
Yeah.
But I miss the congregation that God has entrusted me with.
For sure.
Right. And so I'm falling so in love with what God is doing in Houston, and it's only when Pastor Allen calls me on a Tuesday that I'll leave. But man, yeah, God has changed my heart to love my city.
Yeah. But you're seeing some amazing stuff. Like, okay, so the origin story is I remember we're both in a room.
Yeah.
Pastors, leaders, and it's not even the comparison game of, oh, they're better than me, because at that point I'm probably too arrogant and prideful. So it was more like, but how did I end up here? Because everybody here has a blue check mark on their Instagram. Everybody here is a pastor,
you think they
leader.
paid for it?
Yeah. No, it's just for you. Yeah. Every pastor is famous. Every church is a famous church. I'm like, I feel so inadequate and insecure in this room. And so I know just for young adults, like listening and watching, like you get in rooms and you just begin to, it's just compare. And the insecurity in me began to rise up. And so, we're sitting there, we're talking, we're chopping it up, and we're both like, what the heck is going on? Like we kind of both felt slightly outcasted. We're like at lunch, we're like, what the heck, man? Like everybody here is, and we just talk about, we don't want, like, I don't want that, What's crazy to see is our young adult ministries are both like small and minuscule, or beginning to show very early signs of some really
growth,
cool
right?
fruit.
Yeah.
And so I remember, like it's not about numbers, but it's like, yo, man, we hit 400. Oh, bro, we hit 500. I'm like, no way. Like we did too. Hey, we had a couple more hundred. No way. Yeah, dude, we threw this night. It's like, oh, we hit 1,000. Oh no, wait, we're at, and then boom, we blink and there's like, what was your motion night? 4,000?
5,000.
5,000 people, young adults in a room.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
It's crazy.
Like, but that's been the evolution because you've fallen in love with your city, Like stuff like that only happens because like your priorities are in order, and the Lord speaks and says, fall in love with your city, or is allowing you to fall in love with your city instead of denying it or pushing it away. You allow Him to mold you, to shape you, craft you into the pastor for that city. And so He's like, yeah, I'm going to entrust you with more because you were faithful when it was 200 and it was like in a state that needed somebody. To where you're doing it, and then God can give it to you. And I've heard this. Somebody says like, what would our youth ministries look like, or what our young adult ministries look like, and honestly, what would our personal lives look like if we didn't have social media to compare to? Because I wouldn't know what Grace Houston is doing without social media. Without having a relationship with you, I wouldn't even know what they're doing.
Right.
I wouldn't even have pictures or language to what God is doing. It's like, through this many people came, but I wouldn't even know what that looked like if I didn't have Instagram. Church LV, Pastor Michael preached last night. Like I wouldn't know what Church LV is doing unless I pulled up and saw it without social media. Right. So like I've just had a conviction for what does ministry look like for me in my context. And so big picturing it for young adults is like, what does what God has called you to do look like in your context?
Yeah.
Because God can call you to be an evangelist, but it may not look like Bryce Crawford. Like, and so, evangelism looks like that.
It's got to be that copy paste. I got to do that.
Yes. And maybe for young adults, like a lot of young adults are being called into a full-time vocational ministry. Last night there was a call to like, if you feel full-time ministry on your life, like we want to pray for you. And a lot of students made the response, and I was able to pray, but as I was praying, I'm like, I really hope that they're not saying yes to what they just saw. Because for some, this is going to be the floor of what their ministry. I hope God takes them way further and beyond anything we've ever seen.
Right.
But for some, like full-time ministry might look like, being a chaplain for a city and a police station.
Right.
And that's not going to look like this.
Yeah.
Or full-time ministry is, you're a nurse, but full-time ministry for you looks like praying for the people in the chapel of the hospital that you're working in.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so I just sometimes believe that because we have only this boxed in picture of how God can use us in ministry, that we say yes to like the glitz and the glamour. And there's like, a concern in me for the young people. Like this is the young adult podcast. And so we're reaching young adults and all over the place. I get messages on Instagram or DM through TikTok. And they're just like, how do I get like you? how do I get to where you get to? How do I get to where you're at? And I'm like, I hope you're not looking at the follower count and being like, how do I get to that?
Right.
I hope it's like, oh, when you speak, I see Jesus.
Yeah.
And so how do I fall more in love with him?
Yes.
The way you have,
Yes.
you know? And the moment that like I don't even know how to like answer those questions. Like yesterday on one of the panels, you had a Q&A and someone also asked that, like, I feel a conviction for preaching. Like, how do I get like you? And I'm like, yo, wait a minute. Like, it's not even,
Yeah.
you don't like, yeah. What did Pastor Michael say? Don't follow me because of my gifting, follow me because of my fruit. I'm like, yeah, I hope someone goes, wow, Pastor Allen's so patient.
Yeah.
Like, oh, Pastor Allen's so kind. Oh, Pastor Allen's so loving. Man, I want to love the way he loves, you know? And I think that's why God has entrusted you with 5,000, you know, or like on an average, like a 2,000 every single week, is because like you are so loving. You high five every single person at the door as they walk in. Like, it's like, yo, how do I get like Pastor Ray? Cause he's so loving. And people, a generation is so void of things like love and joy and peace and patience that they need a leader that exudes fruit, you know? And we can get fruit. Pastor Mike preached about how we can't fake fruit.
Yeah.
And so there's so much external, but like, I believe that God has entrusted you with a lot because you have fruit. And here's the thing about fruit that I'm like, yo, Pastor Michael, you should preach this, is that like fruit always has more seed in it to reproduce more fruit. It's like you got an apple, but there's 25 seeds in the apple. And so yeah, God produced a fruit, but that should also produce more fruit. And so as the fruit is coming out of me and people like, it's like, oh yeah, someone just grabbed a lemon off my lemon tree and someone just grabbed an apple. Like they should be able to take that fruit and plant more seed and it should develop more fruit. And I think that's just discipleship. Like I think some of the greatest picture for discipleship is like fruit being produced, is who have you developed, who have you, you know, and I just look at your life and I'm like, there's a lineage of people that are going to come after you in ministry, who are going to be doing the things that you're doing. And again, I pray and hope that like there are young adults in your ministry right now, the practicum students, the college students, that like what you do is going to be like chump change to the way God is going to use them.
Yes.
And that's my hope, that's my dream. Like Jesus literally says, like he goes up to the right hand of the Father and like you will do greater things than me.
Yes.
It's like it wasn't even greater in maybe like magnitude because ain't nobody else getting up out of a grave.
Right.
But greater in like it's going to spread like wildfire, the multitudes, the masses.
Yes.
And it's going to seem so much more miraculous because we are so broken in flesh and we don't have divinity within us.
Yes.
And so it's the Holy Spirit that has to empower us and dwell within us. And then God uses us as a vessel to do those things. And so, I mean, that's greater.
Yes.
And
it's not the quality, it's the quantity.
Come on.
It's not, you're going to do better things than me. No, you can't.
Yeah.
But with the power of the Holy Spirit, can you not do more in your lifetime?
Yeah.
In your lifetime, if you catch this, if you get this in your lifetime, than what I did in 3 years.
Yeah.
And I did a lot in 3 years.
Yeah.
He did it all in 3 years.
Yeah.
But he's saying, man, if you could bear the fruit, you'll do more.
Wow.
Man.
That's why you got to be connected to the vine.
That's it.
The vine, you got the vine, the branches, abide in him. Like that's really what that's the kind of the way I answered the Q&A question, was like, man, just, you know, because we even get to topics of like, can you lose your salvation? Can you not? And I'm like, you know, I've wrestled with this all the time. And depending on what stream of Christianity, we'll have a different answer. Like oftentimes we will, you know, guilt someone by saying you can lose your salvation into getting into holiness. Yeah. And we will also like not try and condemn someone and be like, no, it's okay. Like you can't lose your salvation. Like you won't sin. And so depending on even who the conversation is, like pastors will switch up their, and I'm like, you don't got to worry about that if you just remain in him.
Just remain.
If you just remain, you will bear much fruit. And if your life's exuding fruit, that chances are I don't got to worry about where I'm going. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I just really love that you have that you are that example, that you model that for young people who are thinking about getting into ministry. Like what you're seeing in your city, there's all these people coming. Like what is it that you're seeing for young leaders beginning to rise? Maybe something that you are seeing, like, let's celebrate first, because I hate those podcasts, like, let's just talk bad about everybody that wants to, you know, like, what are you seeing that is like, yeah, I'm grateful that this generation has caught a picture of Jesus and this is how they want to pursue him. Like, what are you seeing young leaders, like, talk to the young leaders who are watching something like this, want to get better, they're developing, have a relationship with Jesus. Like, let's celebrate them for a moment.
Yeah. I mean, I think that this generation, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, they don't want sugar-coated messages, and so they are more receptive, and I celebrate this. They are more receptive of a hard truth. Like they're so receptive to me telling it how it is and then not just receptive, but then they'll apply it.
Yeah.
Yes. And so like whenever I'm speaking a hard message, which is just about every Tuesday, man, every time afterwards, that's what we needed, Pastor Ray.
Wow.
There was this young lady. I love her for this because she told me what it was. It was one of those, I think it was Goodbye Delilah, where I was talking about Samson. And so it was just hard truth. And afterwards, she comes and Pastor Ray, one of your best messages. And I said, it's so funny, man. I was praying to the Lord, like, God, give me an encouraging word. Give me some, and then affirming, like, let me be the wind in their sails this week. And I didn't get that. God was like, now speak on this. And like, so I was telling her, I was praying for this, and she's like, Pastor Ray, no, I have other people that will affirm me.
Yeah.
I need you to call me out.
Wow.
I need you to set me straight.
Yeah.
And they are coming into the church in groves, hungry to be challenged.
Dang.
And then they're going to apply it. And then they're going to go and preach that word and minister that word and love on people as well. And another thing that I'll say about this generation, and I don't want to get too political, but over the last, 4 or 5 years, just the misconception of the man's role and who a man is and what a man is and masculine, toxic masculinity and like for real, like it's just been men, I think got fed up and sick of becoming the bad guy for simply being a man. And so now we're seeing this wave of young men saying, I want to step into being the man that God has called me to be. Yeah. And finally, the tide has kind of changed where the culture is trying to celebrate men and trying to celebrate manhood and be a leader and lead your home and have a wife and have kids and go to church. And so we're seeing the tide change. And so now in our young adult ministry, I'm celebrating the fact that men are standing up for faith and they're leading their girlfriends. And they're trying. They're falling on their face, but they're trying. And I take time multiple times probably in a month to call on men and celebrate men and call them up and say, we need men like you to lead because your future wives are counting on you. Your children are counting on you. And man, the room erupts. Men and women. They're like, yes, I need a Boaz. I don't need a poet. Bro. I need a strong man in my life. And so finally, like, we're seeing the tide change. And so I'm celebrating the fact that men are standing up for righteousness and holiness. And so, like, those are just some of the things that I'm seeing, that they want truth, they're receptive to truth, they apply the truth. And we're seeing men stand up. And I think that when men begin to stand up, it's not that females can't do it. Man, you just had Pastor Gia. Like, killer. Jeez, killer. My wife, a boss. Your wife, Olivia, a boss. Christine Kane. Don Cherie Wilkerson.
Don Cherie, if you're listening.
Pastor Rich, can you send it to Pastor Don Cherie? Like, you got all these incredible. So it's not that females can't do it. It's not that they can't. But man, it takes something to have your husband leading you and championing you in a way that you can step into that. You can step into that platform. You can step into that calling. And so, man, I'm seeing that, and I get so pumped for it.
Talk to the men real quick and just tell them what you.
Listen, stand up for truth. Fall in love with the word of God. Like, fall in love with it. And watch how, as you fall in love with it, that God is going to entrust you. You're wondering, why don't I have a girl? Why can't? Because he can't trust you to fall in love with him first.
Wow.
Man, if he gets a hold of your heart and he can entrust you, man, then he's going to bring the bride to you.
great.
And then your kids are going to flourish and the business is going to flourish. Man, there's something that has wrecked me. And I feel like the Lord really like just revealed it to me. It was a vision. It was a dream. And one day when I meet my maker and I get to be in heaven and I'm absent from the body, present with the Lord. And I get to see a glimpse of the impact that I made on this earth. I'm gonna love it. It's gonna be great, but it's gonna pale in comparison to this moment. That when Asa and Roman and my kids, they pass away, and they get to heaven, and they come up and say, "Daddy, thank you for being the man of the house.
Wow.
Thank you for leading me to Jesus.
Yeah.
Thank you for falling in love with Jesus in such a way that you loved Mom well, that you showed me what it was to be a man of God, that you showed me what it was to love Jesus, because I wouldn't have been here today had it not been for the model that you set. Thank you, Dad."
Wow.
Bro, be a man. Be a man of God that leads your family to the cross. Because this world is going to pass away. And everything that you tried to build on this side of heaven is going to pass away. I'm not saying don't be an entrepreneur. I'm not saying don't be a billionaire. Do all those things. But it means nothing if you're not leading people to the cross. If you're not leading your family to the cross. That's what being a man, in my opinion, looks like.
It's great. And this whole podcast is centered around the idea of finishing well. And you're talking about going to heaven, meeting your maker, your kids getting there, at some point. And like we talked about just leaders fall and mess up. And, what does Paul write to Timothy? I ran the race, I fought the fight. He endured till the end.
Yes.
He finished the faith.
Finish well.
And he did it. It's crazy because he started off so bad, finished so well.
Right.
And promise whoever's watching this, you're probably not living as bad as Saul/Paul did,
Right.
And we really just have this like closing segment where we just ask like, what does it take to finish well? And I just want people to get like, I've encouraged, get an 80-year-old version of you vision.
So
what does it look
good.
like to have kids who still love God, kids who still love Jesus? People who are in ministry, did you sacrifice your family on the altar of ministry? Or did you, because you love the things that ministry gave you over what your family gave you? Who did you become at 80 years old? What things did you say yes to? What things did you say no to? What convictions did you listen to? What did the Lord put on your heart to do? What legacy are you living? What did you leave behind? Grandkids, great grandkids, I don't know.
Right.
Like, what does it take to finish well? Because we've seen the bad. And I'm just like, it doesn't take me having to get to 70 to be like, man, I might die. Like, maybe let me just tighten up the last few years.
Right.
It's like, no, I'm 20 something now. And in order for me to have a better tomorrow, it starts with the decision today saying, I want to finish well.
Yeah.
John Maxwell talks about finishing or starting with the end in mind.
So
and so
good.
I want to see like the end of my life at 20 something and get a vision for what that looks like so that I can make a decision today that'll help impact my tomorrow.
Yes.
And so it's the pre-decision that Craig Rochelle says, I make the decision today before I have to make the decision later. So for example, a conviction that I have is I don't, because when I was younger, my parents, they would be separate. My mom and dad would fight. My dad would go to the garage, sleep there. My mom would go there. And like that just happened for years. So a conviction that was birthed for me is I will never sleep in a bed, not with my wife, just because I'm mad at her.
Correct.
We could be mad. And so now it's like, yeah, we work it out. But if for whatever reason I have to go to bed mad at my wife, we're going to be snuggling and mad.
We going to be in that bed. You might, don't put your toe on me. Don't breathe in my direction, but we in this bed.
Yeah, we in this bed and we cuddling because I'm cold, only because I'm cold.
Right, exactly.
Okay? And I just like, no, because that's what finishing well looks like for me. Is I made the decision at 20 something that I'm not going to be 45 with the same patterns and temperament of getting on my way to divorce. So I have a vision for what a marriage that lasts looks like.
So good.
What does it look like to be a Christian man or woman of God, a young adult that says, I want to finish well. I fall on my face. I messed up 7 times, but I continuously get up 8. And I don't want to have to keep making the same mistake. But there is a grace on my life. I don't want to abuse the grace. Like all the Christian, slang nuances. We love to pull these scriptures and word. It's true. Yeah. But like, man, what's it going to take for us to finish well, in your opinion?
Yeah. I think that there are 3 things, 3 people that I want to say you did well. And the first being that Jesus would tell me, the Father would tell me, well done, good and faithful servant. Yeah. So what is that? That I fall in love with Jesus every single day, every day of my life. If I want to finish well, if I want to be the husband, the grandparent, that I fall in love with Jesus every single day. He tells me that you did well. As well, like what you were saying, my parents got divorced, and there are multiple divorces throughout my family, and so something for me was like, divorce is not even a topic of discussion for us. Yeah. Like we're never.
You don't say that word.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
We don't say the word.
Yeah.
We don't talk about it. And we don't do things that would ever allow us to have to talk about it.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And so the second person that I want to be in a rocking chair one day with is my wife, and she says, "You led me so well." The way that you were a husband to me was so well. So God, my wife, and the third are my children. Dad, you corrected me so well.
Yeah.
You led me so well. You loved me so well. You disciplined me so well. You forgave me so well. You humbled yourself so well. I need to work on that.
Yeah.
But those are the 3.
Yeah.
Everybody else, like, it'd be nice if they said those things, but it doesn't really matter to me.
Wow.
Because the reality is, outside of that circle, I'll never be able to please them.
It's true.
And no matter what I do, they'll find fault in it.
Yeah.
But the 3 that really matter to me is God, and then the ministry that God entrusted to me first.
Yeah.
Which is my family.
Yeah.
And so I think if you have that end in mind, then the fruit of doing that well,
wow,
is going to produce fruit in the ministry that God entrusts you with here on earth.
That's right. And we tired of living in the leaves culture, huh? Leaves.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to post that message on YouTube. I'll link it in the bottom of the description, bro. That message, it was marking. It's like, he sent me the scripture. He's like, are we talking about fruit? I'm like, oh, okay. But like, and I was like, is that the typical conference message?
Yeah. And then he preached it. It was like,
yeah, my gosh, so good. Well, my friend, thanks for being here. All the way from Houston. What are we talking about?
H-Town, baby.
It was amazing. I hope this conversation was incredible. I hope it was impactful. Anything else you got before we go?
Man, I want to thank you for having me on.
Stop it.
No, for real. I want to thank you for having me on, stewarding your gift so well. And for every young adult that's listening, find a God-fearing church.
Yes.
A Holy Spirit, thriving, believing church. And get undercover. What does that mean? Get some authority in your life, a pastor in your life, a small group leader in your life, and grow some roots in that place. So many people have said it at this point, but without roots, you don't produce fruit.
That's right.
And there's so many young adults that are so inconsistent in where they are and so uncommittal where they are. And then you look at your life and you're like, man, nothing is fruitful. Well, it's because you've not been anywhere for longer than 2 weeks. And when I look at you, man, I'm not a young adult anymore. I'm Unc. But as a young adult, man, I would have loved and wished to have somebody, a pastor like you, that I could have just gotten under and learned from. And so, man, I'm just encouraged to have a friend like you and to do life with you. And we're going to look back on days like this when I slept on your couch last night. Not in a hotel room, not just because we wanted to be close.
Yeah.
Just because we
I
wanted
almost
to
slept
do
on the couch with you. Yeah, the other way.
There was a big couch. You know, there was a big couch. We could have. There was room. There was space. But
yeah, it was 4 a.m. at Buffalo Wild Wings, and we're like, man, these are the days that we're gonna talk about 20 years from now.
100%. And so, man, I'm just grateful for you. Find a great church, a God-fearing church, a Holy Spirit thriving church, and get undercover.
Because those who are planted in the house will flourish.
Yep, flourish.
I love you all so much. We'll see you on the next episode.